Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Andrade, and I am the Executive Director at Immigrant Justice Idaho and an immigration attorney. And we are trying to get information to the community about all of these immigration policy changes, proposed guidances, executive orders, and whatnot. So today is the third of 3 videos that we've done. We hope to do more, but what we're going to focus on today is the DHS Enforcement Memo. Okay, people talked about this as the Deportation Moratorium or the Priorities Memo, so let's get into it. The first thing is the memo does 2 broad things. One, it sets out a set of criteria of who ICE is going to make a priority to go after, and it sets forth temporary priorities, temporary enforcement priorities. Okay, so that is going to affect the decision that an ICE agent might make to whether to question someone, whether to call them up while they're in jail and ask them questions about their national origin, whether an officer is going to decide to make a deportation charge against somebody who's here, whether upon doing that they're going to offer that individual release on bond or they're going to keep them locked up. So it also will influence if the case goes to court. These enforcement priorities are going to or should be guiding the lawyers who represent the government in deportation proceedings. So when we go to court, lawyers go to court, there's us for the non-citizen, and then there's the government attorney. And as anyone who's been involved in the court system knows that there's papers that get filed back and forth and arguments being made, and it's often super helpful if the parties can come together and identify the issues that they agree upon so they don't waste everybody's time. Or where you can appeal, make a humanitarian appeal to the prosecutor who has limited resources and maybe convince them that, hey, this person is not, why are you going to waste your money trying to deport grandma? She's not threatening. She's not she's not causing any harm here, when you could be using your money to go after somebody who we all can agree is not helping the community. So that's when a prosecutor or an opposing attorney who has a prosecutorial, well, I don't want to say function, but basically is advancing the case of the government, there are opportunities to come together and provide efficiencies both for the court and for the opposing attorney and for the respondent's attorney. But all of that went away. So all of that went away in under the last administration, meaning that the opposing attorneys, we understood them to be under order to not enter into any agreements with opposing attorneys, to not consider humanitarian requests to perhaps take a case off the active docket, to not halt the proceeding of a deportation case when somebody has got like a pending application for a green card in another agency, but the other agency is so slow that they're not getting it done in time. So what this memo does is says, hey, everyone who's in a function of either doing the arresting or doing the prosecuting of a case, that you need to keep in mind who the U.S. government, as part of this administration, has decided are and are not priorities. Okay, so who are the priorities under the memo? The priority people are individuals who have been determined to be a national security threat, individuals who have entered the United States on or after November 1st, 2020, so recent arrivals, and certain people who are in jails and prisons now and have a conviction, not just an allegation, have a conviction. The conviction meets a certain definition under immigration law, but let's just say they have a conviction and are determined to be dangerous. So let's summarize that. Everybody else, if you're not a national security threat, if you have not recently arrived, meaning you haven't arrived to the United States on or after, I might have said on it before, sorry, on or after November 1st, 2020, and you're not in jail with a conviction, then you are not a priority for removal under these temporary enforcement priorities. Okay. Second thing this memorandum does, it sets forth a 100-day pause on deportations of certain individuals. Okay. Before I get too far, I want to say that the temporary enforcement priorities go into effect February 1st. So they're not in effect yet. So enforcement priorities is February 1st. What is already in effect is a 100-day pause on physical removals. That went into effect January 22nd, 2000. And this applies only to the physical removal, okay? And it only applies to people that have final orders of removal. Okay. Those individuals shall not be removed physically from the United States. Who is accepted from this? Meaning who can be physically removed? National security threats, people who entered or have a removal order November 1st, 2020 or later, recent arrival, so very recent removal orders, and people who voluntarily choose to be removed after they've been given a chance to talk to a lawyer and they sign away the right to not have the policy apply to them, okay? So it's really only affecting a pretty small group of individuals, and those are people who already have final removal orders. So if you know you have a final removal order and you know that removal order was entered into before November 1st, 2020, and you're not a national security threat, and you don't give away your right to be not to be removed for the next 100 days, then you are not supposed to be removed for the next 100 days. If you know people in the community that meet that criteria that are being removed, we want to hear about that. You can email info@immigrantjusticeidaho.org. You can send us a Facebook message. You can call 208-342-0434. I want to say before closing and giving a summary, a special shout out to some folks over at Immigrant Legal Resource Center that sent around a really nice summary of this memo for those of us who are practicing and have a lot of stuff to keep up on, and that's Lena Graber and Grisel Ruiz. Thank you much. And they closed their summary with an important reminder that we are in this position, right, because of the ongoing fight and pushing of communities for change in our immigration policies, that immigration policies are being addressed in the first 100 days and so aggressively and boldly is really a testament to the work that's been done on the ground. And we want to recognize that and encourage people to be involved from the ground up. And to secondly say this opportunity, this 100 days we should view as an opportunity. This memo came out and it says in the memo, when you read it specifically so they could just like stop and take a look at what's happening and make some changes. So it is a great time to make your voice known to what kind of changes you would like to see under this administration. We hope to be able to post some toolkits and other advocacy. We have some ideas about what would be an appropriate set of enforcement priorities that are permanent and not temporary. So please stay tuned. Please stay engaged. We don't want to give up this opportunity to affect change that has come with this 100-day pause. So in summary, we are talking about the DHS Enforcement Memo. It's a memo. It's not a regulation. It's not a statute. It's not a case, which means it can be changed, it can be amended, and they might not follow it all that much. But they've said to the world that this is what they want to do, so we want to hold the people accountable. And what it does, in summary, two things. It puts in place as of February 1st, 2020, temporary enforcement priorities that identify only 3 groups of people that are priorities: national security threats, people who arrived on or after November 1st, 2020, and those who are in jails with convictions and are a danger. It also puts a temporary 100-day pause on physical removals for individuals with final administrative removal orders that were entered into on or after November 1st, 2020. It does not apply, that were entered into before November 1st, 2020. The pause does not apply to folks who are determined to be a national security threat, folks who have a recently issued removal order, November 1st, 2020 or after, and those who voluntarily give up that right. Thanks so much. Stay tuned for more, and please stay involved. Thank you. Bye-bye.